And information session is now called to order. At this time, we look to our Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Bennett. You'll call for our prayer and pledge.
Yes, sir.
She is ready.
Thank
She's
you.
ready to go.
I would like for Dr. Pastor Renee Sellers to come. She would give out invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. And thank you. Yes.
Mayor, city commissioners, public officials, let us go before the throne of grace. Father, we come before you this afternoon. Lord God, we give you glory and honor, for you are our Father which art in heaven, and holy is your name. We bless your name, Lord God, for you are the first cause of everything. You are possessor of heaven and earth. It is in you that we move, breathe, and have our being. We bless you, Lord God, for you are Alpha and Omega. You are beginning and the end. You are Jehovah Shammah. You never leave us nor forsake us, God. And we bless your name today, Father. Your word declares in Proverbs, it says to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. So this afternoon, Lord God, we invite you in. We acknowledge you. We invite you into this meeting. We invite you into every decision. We invite you into every ordinance. We invite you in this room in the name of Jesus. And we ask you to have your way. Let your will be done for this city. In Jesus' name, we bless you and we praise you. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We want to start off by thanking our Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Bennett, and then we want to thank Dr. Sellers for coming and invoking the presence of God for our service today. At this time, we look to our city clerk and ask if we have any guests. Would you call those guests up?
Mr. Mayor, we do not.
Okay. Without having any guests, we now turn the program over to our city's manager, Mr. Duke Rayford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, this time we do not have any travel training scheduled requests. And we'll move into the planning and information session, starting with the discussion items. We don't have any bids at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, the vision remains the same for the city, as well as the mission, and I will let that sit there for those who might not have seen this before, who might be viewing for the first time today. Mr. Mayor, the priorities remain the same. With the bins, well, the big buckets being infrastructure, services, quality of life, and the city workforce. Those buckets further explain as far as what is each located each bin. And for those who may be watching for the first time, these are 24 priorities, 25 if you split one up, but these are the 24 priorities that drive the city's operation day to day. Mr. Mayor, the city plan, 10-year plan. For those who may be watching for the first time, this is our 10-year strategy, backed by the comp plan. We're currently in years 2 through 4, starting with year 2, well, at the end of year 2. Everything is moving forward as scheduled, Mr. Mayor, and I'll talk about some of this briefly in the yellow arrow. So we've updated all our programs, still updating some policies and some ordinances that require legislation at the state level. And of course, we have made new procedures to track our performance measures. We'll continue to improve our standard-based workforce, working on quality service and additional training for the workforce. And as of right now, as far as automation update, I think we are still scheduled for a September completion date. And again, for those who have not been tracking the full automation turnover, this will give the city capability to do multiple things. First will be pay and play, by all means, payment methods. Many things will be online at that stage to contain business licenses, other transactions that in the past have been paper. This will all be seamlessly online once this overall is complete. And then, of course, research, design, and fund infrastructure priorities, and I'll talk about that a little bit at the end during the infrastructure update. And, of course, the long-term financial strategy, which beginning with the SPLOS 2023, and I'll talk about that later on the briefing as well. And, of course, to maintain quality delivery of services to our citizens. I'll be doing a presentation with one addition. We have one of our mission partners here, ESG Infomark, will kind of brief their portion and take questions on their agenda item. Again, we had no bids. We'll start with the honors policies. There was a request made by the commission to establish an honors policy. I could not find a shell for one search, and I did reach out to some other cities. GMA did not, because I reached out late, they had not got back with me yet as far as GMA, so I'll wait for them as well. What I'll do tonight, though, we'll just kind of make note of what the commission might want the honors policy to obtain, and then we'll go back and check the legality behind. There's certain things we can't do at the city level. I do know that. And then any other thing that the commission might want, we'll just make sure moving forward if we can establish those things. In some cases, this won't require an actual honors policy. It'll be a one-time event, one-time action, and we use the deaths of our the transitions of our two previous commissioners as an example. We did some one-time events, and we got some other events scheduled for them. But with that, I'll pause, and does the commission have any consideration or recommendation where they want to be incorporated in the program? We'll make note of it right now, and then we'll follow back at a later date.
I'll start off with each commissioner, and I'll start with District 1. Do you have any recommendations for anything concerning the honors policy?
No, sir. I do have a question. So, are we gonna honor all the commissioners that have served, just when they pass?
That's a good question. So we can present that thought as well. So the question is whether or not we will honor other commissioners who have served their terms, and when they pass, will we do particular things for them as well? So that's just a notation that we can make. And we'll come back around. I'll come back around and give everyone a chance to bring their questions and thoughts up, and then we'll address them individually and as a collective body. All right? Is there a further question? Or? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, and thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Pro Tem?
No, sir.
And Commissioner Fulton.
Yes, I have a question, Mayor. Thank you. Mr. City Manager, you said that you reached out to GMA and you're waiting to hear back from them.
Correct.
Regarding this honors policy, which should be a resolution. And I appreciate you for taking the time to research this information, you as well as, I would assume, the city attorney. I think that it's important for our citizens to understand that because of the most recent passings of two commissioners, there was a lot of discord in the community about how one commissioner was honored over the other. And I truly believe that if we had a policy in place that would eliminate any bias or presumption of bias or favoritism among any commissioner that is being honored and respected because of the service that they provided to the city during their tenure here. Regarding this particular honors policy, I do look to the commission for their input. I do have some ideas, but I do appreciate if they would provide some input regarding this honors policy, not a program, but a policy. And if you need a city to mimic that has an honors policy in place, I will be glad to provide the name of that city for you. Thank you.
And Commissioner Nelson.
No, sir.
Okay.
So Mayor, Mr. Mayor, if I can, so I'm taking down to understand Commissioner Roberts' question. He's asking about previous commissions who may have transitioned.
And that sounds interesting because we had a mayor to pass
Correct, and the mayor. Yes,
as I came into office,
okay.
and he was the first African American mayor of the city, and we've named an auditorium while he yet lived in his honor. and did a celebration regarding that. But each time a commissioner has passed since he passed, I don't think we've done anything for any of them with regard to those who have been a part of the commission and then were off of the commission. But that does not mean we cannot do anything. That's a good idea to bring that to the table as well. So just in case, say for instance, another commissioner passes. We've had several commissioners who were online who worked. I know that we had Commissioner Etheridge, District 2, who passed away. And when he did, we did honor him, but it was done in a way that the community had come together because he worked in several capacities, not only here, but also in Pierce County. So it all depends upon the council and the commission itself.
Great. I will say for the two commissioners that transitioned, we did do plaques on both of them. That's the only thing that we did for both commissioners. So, I mean, that's a start. So we can go from there. Next, Mr. Mayor, the commissioner asked to put have a charter conversation. Was not sure exactly what that entailed, but based off of some feedback, I went ahead and just some discussion we've had. I went ahead and outlined what official city business means for the commission and also for the general public. I also went ahead and outlined who was responsible for our social media content, and also went ahead and outlined what our social media policy is, so there were questions about those. And that's kind of the feedback I kind of derived from what was asked for us to do. So I pause there for if we have any specific questions on the charter. It was a big thing to kind of figure out, but these are the things just by, I guess, some of the conversations we've been having internally. So we selected these 3 items as far as communications for the charter. And I'll pause there for any recommendations or suggestions or comments by the commission.
Very good. Thank you. Just looking at the charter itself, we know that our charter is somewhat expansive.
Yes.
And it has a number of things inside of it that are probably a bit obsolete.
Yes.
And need to be removed from the charter itself. And we've had it reviewed and looked at by council.
Correct.
And being that they have seen it, much of what they've seen has been questionable. We brought a few things up at the beginning of January, one of which happened to be the very thing we're talking about regarding honors policy. We made mention that we would do something along the lines of connecting the dots when it comes down to our commission, and even adding to that the mayor, because the mayor is not included as far as the commission is concerned, which is quite interesting. I believe that the interim attorney, Mr. Spearman, put something together for us to vote on as a body to send to General Assembly to add to our charter to make sure that we did what I'm hearing us say we should be doing. However, it was shot down. We only had 3 votes and two nays to the vote, or 1 abstention and 1 vote no. So, of course, we can't do anything even with a resolution. If you go back to making a resolution, it only applies to those of us who are here now. So the next commission, when they come into play, can change all of that. So that was another concern and consideration that we were thinking about then. But if it's in the charter, it has a little more, it has more teeth.
Great.
And has a little more weight than what we would possibly do as individual council. But if it's okay, I want to look to our city's attorney and let him give us kind of a conversation regarding what we did earlier and some things that you've noticed with our charter since you've been sitting in the seat. And you've been city attorney and county attorney.
That's correct. Mr. Mayor, with respect to what we're looking at on the screen, city business defined and social media policy, and other matters such as those are really administrative matters, which don't necessarily have to be in the charter. Right behind the charter in our city code is the administrative procedures of the city commission, where you define what your procedures are going to be in terms of how you conduct your business. And that would be a place where you might want to define what official business is. And you can change that from time to time depending upon the needs of the city. So on the one hand, you don't want to put everything that's administrative into the charter, because then you can only change it by having the legislature amend the charter. And that holds you up for a period of time until the legislature is in session. But anything that's dealing with the constitution of the commission, that is how commissioners are elected, how many commissioners to have, district lines and so forth, those kinds of things have to be changed by the legislature. Anything dealing with the composition of the commission. You did make a valid point just now about some things you may want to put in the charter so that future commissions can't change them by resolution. And you just need to give that careful thought in terms of what you really want to be there, for a long time, because it could come back to work to your disadvantage if it's something that is ordinarily an administrative matter, and then you don't want to be hampered by having to amend the charter to change it.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. And now I'll go to the commission and give them opportunity to respond to what they have seen, probably some questions they may have regarding charter and or ordinances that have been created. So at this time, I'll start with District 1, District 2,
No, sir.
and District 3.
Yes, Mayor. I have questions regarding the information you have on the slide about the charter. I think that there have been a lot of questions raised among citizens, not only about the charter, but how we conduct city business as it relates to the charter and also adhering to the charter. For citizens, it's questioning when an issue may be brought to the forefront and they ask a question and the city attorney, city manager, and mayor, you all respond. And then those citizens go back and do their research and they find the exact opposite of what you've stated in the meeting as opposed to what is written in doctrine. And so for me as a commissioner, when I hear and not only see these things, it does make the way that we are operating government here in the city questionable about what we allow and what we don't allow with our employees here at the city. Also when it comes to conducting city business. Are our employees responding to these posts and things of that nature on city time? And is such a response required or necessary from that employee? And also when it comes to the exchanging of information, more recently there was a citizen that sent an email communication, from my understanding, to select individuals. And somehow that email information was disclosed to the public. And so therefore, again, it brings about a question of public trust from the citizens with the commission, the mayor, the city manager, whomever, that receives such communication and as to whether or not it will be disclosed. And last but not least, going back to social media, it states that the city policy is that employees cannot post malice things on social media about the city administration in their official capacity. Additionally, we do not restrict when the workforce can utilize social media. So I don't like to make any assumptions, so I will look to the city attorney to delve into that for me, please, just for clarification.
But
Not only for my clarification, but for the citizens.
Let me speak on that first, Mr. Attorney. So we've talked about this before multiple times. First of all, no citizen has found anything that I did or the city did incorrect. Not one time since I've been here. They may interpret it the way they want to interpret it, but not once it's happened. If it happened, Commissioner, please provide that situation so we can address it. But since I've been here for 2 years and 3 months, that has never happened. So they might find a policy that they interpret the way they interpret it, and that's their opinion, and that's fine. It's always their opinion. But I go back, I check with legal, and I check with GMA, and we're good to GG on that. So that's the first point. With the city policy, like I said, I monitor Facebook throughout the day because that's how we communicate to a lot of our citizens. And I answer about 50 to 75 questions a day to our citizens through Facebook. I provide references when needed. If they want appointments, I schedule appointments If they want phone calls, we schedule phone calls. This has been a great way for us to communicate to our citizens and answer their questions and concerns, because in some cases we do miss certain things as far as our operational day-to-day stuff. So, like today, a citizen mentioned an area they want to have work, and I've kind of talked about it before. We're about close to 600 abandoned properties right now throughout the city, and I was able to explain to that citizen this. That would quadruple our workload as far as fuel and manpower we just don't have. But at the same time, we have been discussing, the commission been discussing what ways we can do to get rid of the blight and abandoned properties. So once that was explained to the citizen, they thoroughly understood. So I feel like it has been a great tool my 2 years here, because as you know, when I first came on the job, one of the things that you told me, this commission told me verbatim, hey, work on communication with the citizens. Be transparent with the citizens. We answer every question on Facebook, regardless if we disagree or agree, we answer the question, point blank. As far as the email, there is no protected privilege from a citizen who sends me an email. This is not election season, so there's no such thing. So any citizen, I would say, now you send me an email, I do not share the email. I don't post it on social media. I do discuss it with the department that it applies to. So if you send me an email and say, hey, Mr. Rayford, you need the grass cut on 6th Street, who am I going to talk to? The public works director. Go cut the grass on 6th Street, and that's how that happens. So the other emails that are considered public trust will be direct emails to yourself and the commission, which I do not share. I think we're clear, and it's on our policy, on what the charter says and how we operate in the city. But like I said, if there's any incidents, I do not know of it right now when we violate any policy on social media, any policy according to our charter, or any policy according to our handbook. And I'll pause there, and I'll turn it back over to the city attorney.
As far as social media policies are concerned, you're not going to find that in the charter. You may find that in the personnel policies and procedures manual that applies to all city employees, but that is not the kind of thing that you would normally find in a city charter. I mean, that's more of an administrative matter that doesn't deal with the formation of the city government, which is what the charter does. The city charter deals with the formation of the government, all of its various departments, how each department is supposed to function in terms of delivering services to the city, how city officials are supposed to function. Those are the kinds of matters that are in your charter. But day-to-day matters such as emails and communications and free speech and all of that, those kinds of things are regulated in your policies and procedures manual. And that's where you look to see whether or not there's a rule that applies, or if it's not, whether you want to amend the policy and add a rule that applies to all city employees. And I'll say one other thing about the charter. I find that there's a lot of misunderstanding due to the fact that a lot of citizens will approach this commission, as well as me sometimes, and argue what the charter should say, as opposed to what the charter actually does say. And they'll base their whole critique and argument on how the charter should read, but we have to deal with the charter as it is. Now, we know that there are a lot of provisions in the charter that need to be updated and brought up to what the current standard should be in terms of what a charter should look like. But until old provisions are changed, we have no choice but to go with what we have. And so I think a lot of confusion occurs because people have very strong feelings about what the charter should say, but it doesn't actually say what they think it should say. It says what it says. And that's what we have to go with.
A layer of thought on that, because I heard the framing of maybe we're saying things that are not in the charter, or at least are conflicting with what the charter has said. But generally, when I'm talking and when I hear both city manager and city attorney speaking, it's only referenced to what is actually in the book. I mean, there are certain things I think people use biblically as well to say they want to make it their truth, and their truth is not necessarily the truth, how things ought to be, as opposed to how things are. So in this case, I do believe that as it has been done, and I've noticed our city manager responds to much more than I would respond to, and in the sense that he wants to make sure that every person has been talked to correctly or at least shown the way. In my particular case, I find that it's difficult if a person's already made up their mind to go a specific way for you to deter them and to detour them and go in another way altogether. So looking at this whole piece, I'm glad that you brought the charter out, because we have been, one of our conversations in times past has been that we want to strip that charter and re-look at the charter, look at it step by step, piece by piece. And each of the individual commission members have the right to sit there and look at and bring to the table. When we use a broad brush to paint a conversation, we oftentimes bring a good number of things in, and it sounds, although ambiguous, it could make it sound as if we are purposefully doing something that we should not be doing. And so I understand the city manager's response. I also understand the response given by our city's attorney. We need to make sure, if we're going to say something, commission, that we specifically highlight and make that point known. What is it specifically that we're talking about? We don't have to use names, because according to our decorum, we're not to identify individuals. Neither are we supposed to say someone's broken some kind of rule or ethical breakdown of some sort, because that's part of what the decorum says. So in some cases, we have to be very mindful even in our framing. And that's another piece that, I could hear commission saying point of order or that kind of thing. So we could bring our conversation back to what it should be. So if we have specific things that we need to pull out, then I would suggest that we say those specific things. And I'll go back to our city manager. I'm not sure if you had anything else you want to share.
I would just say, Mayor, we all voted on the handbook, the current handbook now, and all the policies in the handbook are, we passed the handbook, I think it was April of this year. So I'm not sure what the issue is now. Like I say, I strongly encourage definitely my department leads to monitor social media. Public Works, this gives them more capacity than what they have. I will admit, we only have one person answering phones down there. So that's probably one of the situations where that person, they get up and go use the bathroom, they'll miss 5 phone calls, for various reasons. So the way we're doing it now, like I said, they do a great job of talking to citizens. They set up appointments as well with citizens. It's just not just me. So again, I think it ain't just the social media platform either. We on our live streams, it's the same thing. We are really able to get out and do more with less by operating this way versus waiting on phone calls every day that was going on in the past when I got here. So I am pleased with it. And even what I would deem negative interactions with citizens, it's all teaching moments in education. And those that want to, don't want to agree, like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion. And as you said many times, sometimes it's only lines what they already believe. So I recognize we can't change that. But I do provide the resource and the data and the reference, and they can use how they want to use it. But for the mass of citizens, majority of citizens, this has been a great interaction. I also get great recommendations from our citizens. So we made changes based off of that feedback from citizens we wouldn't have gotten any other way. Some citizens can't even leave their homes. So I just think it's a great tool. Like I said, and with the charter, the social media policy is correct. It's not in the charter, just the department that oversees it. But the handbook clearly states what our policy is, and we voted on it. There were no objections then, and I say it's only been positive over this last year.
And the floor is still open if there's more conversation around the charter.
Yes, there is, Mayor. I'd just like to point out and thank you for your thoughts. But I would just like to state that there definitely is a difference between a malice post on social media from a city employee as opposed to giving a response to a citizen who may have a difference of opinion or a question regarding city matters. And I think that to distinguish the two, that should be a topic of discussion. But I will provide you several examples of what I'm referencing so that there can be clarification on the difference between malice things on social media and professional points made on social media.
So I'm only referring to the city pages that we manage. Any other personal page, I don't look at people's personal pages that work for the city of Waycross. Again, we've discussed this already. That's a First Amendment right. If they want to get down and dirty with anybody, as long as to the current policy, they don't deem the city in that way, they can say whatever they want to say. Like I say, I'm not looking for that. You know, I try to stay away from that stuff. But on the city pages that I overview and manage, it is all professionalism, and we try our best to answer the questions of all citizens. Even when those same citizens are disrespectful to us, we still try to come back and answer their questions. So I'll pause there. I didn't hope that clarified that. So and Mr. City Attorney, can you go on to that part about the First Amendment? Do we need to go over that again, or?
Well, yes, sir. Everybody has a First Amendment right to express themselves and to speak their opinions about certain matters. And if they're doing it on their own time, on their own social media device, you know, they're free to express themselves. Now, the manager is making a distinction between a person using their private resources versus responding on a city page, and I think that's a good distinction. Because if you're going to use the city page to express yourself, you should use professionalism when you responding to a comment, even if it's a comment that's critical of an employee. I think professionalism requires city employees, you know, not to respond in a way that's unbecoming of a city employee or of professionalism. But you know, outside of city, outside of the city itself, when you're at home on the weekends and you're on your own social media page, you can pretty much say what you want to say because you have a First Amendment right to do so. And now, I think city employees should be encouraged to not stir the pot, so to speak, because people, even though you have a First Amendment right to say what you want to say, people will still identify you with the city if they know that you are a city employee. So that's just common sense and just a way that you ought to think about how you're going to respond if you are a city employee. But at the same time, you still have a First Amendment right to say what you want to say on your own time and on your own device.
And last thing, Mr. Mayor, I don't want to be a dead horse. Like just even on our personal pages, when we get personal attacks, and I tell you when they don't beat me up and all this stuff, I mean, it's like, you know, I don't respond to those. I mean, nobody should at that point, like City Attorney was saying, even on my personal pages. So I'm not afraid of any citizen here on that level. All I want to do is answer their questions and take their comments and their concerns. And if it's value added, like it's going to make something positive for the city, by all means, we're going to look into that. Like I said, we have a lot of positive feedback from citizens who want to make Waycross better. And then we got a few that don't, and that's fine, you know. So I might tend to lean more towards the ones with positive answers because I want to use those answers. We want all of them to be a part of the solution. So, but that being said, we still try to answer as many questions we can. Like I say, sometimes I can have 100 a day. I don't get to everybody, but a lot of times the staff comes in, the directors, especially depending on what the question is, and follows up with an answer for those citizens.
Very good. So I know we've been here for a minute, and
Yes,
I think we would talk more, if this was more of like an executive session, we would talk about a particular topic.
Yes.
And this one has kind of involved administrative things.
Correct.
As opposed to the charter itself, so yeah, we can go to our contracts.
Okay. Next contract was requested to be on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, and what I did here was now part of this is in our charter, and part of it's in the handbook. I can read it if need be. I hope the citizens are watching on board right now can read. I know it's small writing. but and I'll summarize it. You know, basically anything that's over $10,000, if the purchase if it's a good, a service, a contract, you know, a request made by the city manager. If I approve that request from the directors, I then go to the commission, and that's what it be bid out, and that's through the purchase manager. She generates a bid, a proposal based on specifications and needs of that department, and sends it out to the department director for their review. Then we send the bid out, was generated, and it goes out to a few resources. So the official city's legal organ is going to be the Waycross Journal Herald sitting over there. So that's the first place we're going to publish any notification for contracts. And then we advertise it on the bids. They go through the vendor registry, and that's a national procurement site, and the Georgia procurement registry, that's the official state site. So we have those three locations that the bids go out right now. And of course, local means too, word of mouth. So once it goes out, and that's done by Ms. Jackson, who's not here today, but once she puts those bids out, then we get those three bids, and then we come here and get best bid available, and then we go from there. So that's the current contract process. The one thing I will say, and this goes back into the overall financial strategy we'd like to do moving forward, $10,000, you know, really can't buy anything right now, and the commission's heard my struggles about trying to buy pipes when we can for our infrastructure on time. Anytime I have to bid it out, you know, it's taking another 2 or 3 months, and by that time, we're in a worse situation with our water and sewer. This also includes vehicles. You know, we missed a lot of great deals on vehicles because of the bid process. In the Georgia state law, I think it's $100,000 before you have to bid something out. And I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong, but I think it's $100,000 that you gotta bid something out. And I've looked at other cities, and I brought this up before about having more flexibility with what I could do as far as the financial amount, but that seemed to be an issue a while back. So I got with the team. I definitely want to come back to certain purchases like vehicles. We have got to be more agile and flexible on these things, because we miss out on a lot of deals simply because if I found a vehicle today, or today would be different, but if I found it Wednesday, then you're talking about another whole month almost, and that car's going to be gone in about 72 hours. And then we're going to miss out on probably $50,000 to $60,000 savings depending on what that is. So, and this is, we're probably going to come back with this, but since this is brought up, I would ask the commission to kind of look at for purchases on anything related to water and sewer and vehicles, that the flexibility of the city manager's position goes up more. So,
What would you consider a good number for you?
I think in regards to the pipes, you know, we can start getting to the larger size pipes. When it's emergency, now we got to run and find them everywhere. You might get an 8-inch and above. You're talking, it's any of my engineers sitting out today, but you're talking maybe around $25,000 to $75,000. With the police vehicles, this is a great example. We ended up purchasing those police vehicles. You know, they cost us about, I think in the end, around $250,000 for the 60 we did purchase. But had we had the ones that we had saw available on that week, we'd probably save $100,000. So what I would like to do, and I'm gonna hit this at the end about the vehicles, because part of the financial strategy is to start getting these vehicles through the 2023 SPLOS as soon as possible. So anything under $100,000, you know. That being said, I would still like to I would brief the commission. But I say $100,000 because we're talking about multiple vehicles. That might be 2 trucks, 2 pickups, maybe a pack van. You know, that's going to be about $75,000. So I'm talking about multiple vehicles. And I'm not asking the commission to do voting right now, but please ask around to the other cities that change this policy, because they move much faster than we do on any procurements. And then again, we're going to have one deep here with that. So when she's trying to do those things and other things that are in her job requirement, we get behind as well, like property purchases, stuff like that. So right now, I think the state is $200,000. It has to go out. Anything below that, I feel like the city can move much faster, and especially right now with the economy and the inflation going on and everything right now, and some stuff gonna be limited access. We can't really chance on waiting a whole month sometimes for some critical vehicles that we need. And I'm speaking on just like the extra vacuum truck. This has been an ongoing issue between, you know, we only have one vacuum truck, and we're getting ready for hurricane season. And that was a known shortage during hurricane season. That vac truck runs a brand new one, probably $500,000. So I get that had to be bid out. A slightly used one, we're talking maybe $350 to $450. But the thing is, when we find one, we got to jump on it this year. We cannot wait until we get close to hurricane season, then go try to look for one, like we did last year, trying to figure it out, and then we couldn't find one. So just something for the commission to think about moving forward. And I didn't really think about this until I pulled up the information for the contracts, and I kind of paused if anybody has any recommendations or comments.
Now I'll start with District 1. Did you have any comments or?
I just, excuse me, I just have a question about the vehicles. Instead of buying new vehicles, do we have any vehicles that we could probably replace the engines in?
Yeah, so in some cases, like we do, like the public works, not public work, the community improvement vehicles. You know, we have those 4 trucks out there. So we buy their new trucks for them. I'm gonna then turn those trucks over to public works, and they might cannibalize is a bad word, but they might reuse the parts. And you know, and I think in one case they can probably save their whole truck, and they need a pickup truck too. So yes, Commissioner, we can do that. That's part of the plan strategy. But unfortunately, because of the age of our fleet, we don't have many options like that that we kind of can move from place to place. So, and in other situations, we're going to look at maybe a shared vehicle, as like the fire department, the police department. Sometimes they can share vehicles, certain vehicles. So we're looking at that as well. And I'll kind of go over all that when we actually do the budget presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner.
No, sir.
And District 3.
Yes, I have a question there. You mentioned that our contracts, they're published through several legal organs, such as the Waycross Journal Herald, the Georgia Procurement Registry, and also word of mouth. Are these contracts also published on our city's website?
It depends what the contract is.
What do you mean it depends?
So anything like paving, like we're doing paving, stuff like that, is going to be on there. But anything outside that, we're trying to do a contract to get somebody to come here and fix the roof. It might not be on the city page long.
Okay, could you explain to me why a roofing contract, potential contract, would not be on the city's page?
Just no real reason, Commissioner. I just the main focus is going to be those big contracts that we want to put out. So the paving, the streets, the water, sewer, all those things.
So, just for clarification, you determine which contracts are advertised
I don't determine anything. We have to advertise
according to
these
the Georgia
three-
Procurement Registry. Correct.
These 3 sites. Everything else, I'm not sure what you ask, Commissioner. I don't get that far into this with the procurement officer.
Well, I
just want
asked about the city's website because that is one of our social media platforms that our citizens do depend upon for and look for information. So my question is, would it be an issue to have contracts advertised there as well?
It wouldn't be, but so any contracts or bids we're gonna have out is not gonna be city internally. Like here, all our bids gonna probably come from outside the city or through the engineering firm and stuff like that. I mean, it's not like a big thing to put it on there.
Right. I was just asking just to make sure that everyone has a fair opportunity.
But they have a fair opportunity because right now, these 3 websites are the primary websites that all companies, industries know to go to, and this is national as far as the vendor registry, national procurement site, and in the state of Georgia, procurement registry, official state procurement site. So anything that deals with cars, vehicles, water, sewer, everybody, all contractors know to go to those sites. When I said word of mouth, I mean our local contractors here. Like if I wanted to do something over $10,000, and that could be anything, it might be word of mouth here. So
I just think that it's something that should be considered
Okay.
since we want to, keep the public informed.
okay.
Thank you.
District 5. No, thank you.
All right, Mr. Mayor. Next, we'll move into the ESG Infomark contract increase. I'm not sure who's going to talk on this, but I'll let them speak on it. Basically, we're going to go over some of our sludge costs, and we discussed this. We're okay with it. It's gonna add, I think another, was it 185,000 to the overall contract, and we kind of discussed this. And if you, Ben, you want to talk? Okay. And you have a information paper on that contract in front of you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commission.
Good afternoon.
Yes, like City Manager stated, you have a memo in front of you. It kind of details out what we're asking for this year. And, we skip over to the second page. It outlines it, and it goes into, the base fee and the sludge increases. So for the base fee, that's to cover wage increases. One of the things that we've had, when we've, I've been here before, but when I came back, we tried to, we had some openings, but we went to go fill them. And we found out quickly that what we were gonna have to pay the people to come in were making more than the folks that were here. So we had to adjust the people who were working for us rates. We couldn't bring in the new people higher than them, in other words. So that's part of it. The other thing is lab supplies. We got lab is our cost. So we've had some additional testing that's come up with the PFAS and things like that that requires more sampling and costs more money. Additionally, chemicals. Chemicals since COVID have gone up tremendously. Chlorine alone has gone up 120% since COVID, and that's our cost. And then inflation, as the city manager was talking about, just cost to do business has gone up tremendously. And then the sludge rebate, you'll see on the next page. So it's a rebate account, and that means you guys pay us every year to manage the sludge rebate account. And what you'll see in red is the overages. So every year it's gone over, and we've had to come back to the city and say, hey, this account has gone over, you owe us this amount. So by adjusting the sludge rebate, hopefully we won't have to come back and say, hey, the sludge costs have gone up this much, we need this much more. So we're predicting it to go up to 300,000 total, and should stay in line, provided Broadhurst doesn't go up on hauling or tipping fees in the next year. And I'll pause and take any questions that you may have.
I'll start with District 1, see if they have any questions.
No, sir.
District 2,
No, sir.
District 3,
No.
and District 5.
Yes, sir. So you're basically saying that the rebates that we're getting does not offset the original cost going in?
Correct, sir. Yeah, so right now the sludge budget is $164,000. And like last year, we had to ask for over $125,000 in overages to cover that.
Yeah.
And that's what we're asking for, is to, get that budget in line.
Okay. Thank you. This is good.
Okay.
So we're asking for an increase?
Who wants to speak? Yes. Commissioner Bennett, you want to respond? Is it good? Okay. Did you have a follow-up question, Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to defer to the city attorney for one question, Mr. Mayor, because I do want to go ahead and add this to the, it's not in your current budget book. So do we need a concession to modify that contract because of the cost? We need a concession from
Yeah,
Okay.
we do.
the, yeah, okay. So we'll update that resolution for that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Next, Mr. Mayor, there was a citizen zoning concern requested to be on the agenda, and I'm going to defer to Mr. Hawkins. He did provide a small update the previous time.
Okay.
He will do it again, then we'll kind of go from there as far as discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners.
Good.
So, about a week or two ago, we had a citizen come in to get a vacancy inspection. The water had been off at this residence since November of 2023. In the time that had been rezoned, so this property had been rezoned back in May of 2008. It was the area basically from Darlington Heights all the way down to Alpha Street, where it comes to a triangle at Glenmore Avenue, so it covers Bertha, Alpha, Johanna, banks. A lot of those streets went from, in 2008, a previous commission rezoned that area from R50 MH mobile home to just R50, which did not allow mobile homes. The mobile homes that were on site were considered legal non-conforming uses. Our zoning ordinance says that non-conforming uses can stay, but once they're abandoned for 6 months, water or power has been turned off for 6 months, that you cannot reestablish that. So basically, the mobile homes were grandfathered in, and the old saying, once it went vacant for 6 months, grandpa died. But the legal terms of non-conforming use and reestablishment. I spoke with the tenant and the owner and notified them of the situation. Told them the options would be to either apply to rezone the property, to go back to mobile home, walk them through that process of how they do that, the fee, or to remove the mobile home. So that's where we stand with that. And again, it was rezoned back in 2008. The water's been off since November of 2023. And I think the owner of the property sent a letter to a commissioner inquiring about it, and that's why we're here today.
Okay.
So,
So we're going to open the floor for questioning.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. So we allow for Commissioner wanting to have questions concerning this.
Correct. Thank you, Mayor. So when the owner of the property, I guess when the utilities hadn't been paid, how is that owner notified? The owner of the property, not the individual that is purchasing the property, but is the owner of the property notified by the city?
that I'm not sure. That you would have to ask Greg or the utility building. But typically when the water is applied for, if the owner's not paying for it, it's in the tenant's name or the purchaser's name, and then that's who's notified.
Yes. So in this case, Commissioner, so the tenant was paying their own water. It's one of those situations where, like Ms. Hawkins said, sometimes the water comes out of your rent bill, and then sometimes they require the tenant to pay for the water. So in that situation, the owner of the building is not going to know. Probably still know because they should be communicating with the tenant if the tenant leaves. So that's the situation here. If they leave, then automatically you should assume you're not paying water, or if you break communications with them. So that's been a problem in a few cases, but that's not a matter that, you know, when I say doesn't concern us, I don't mean that's concerned. I mean, like, that's got to be between the property owner and the actual renter or the tenant.
It sounds like to me that there should have been some form of communication between those two entities, not us.
Mm-hmm.
I think we somehow would have stepped over our boundaries to have gone into that part of it. But we can look to the city attorney for thoughts on that. I don't know.
Mr. Mayor, I think you're correct. The relationship between the owner and the tenant is not something that the city would be privy to. And in this case, it's my understanding that the water account was in the tenant's name. And so the city is not going to send a bill to someone else whose name is not on the account. And when the bill went out for, I guess, a number of months, it wasn't paid. And I know the owner, I think in this case, you know, makes the point that the owner didn't know that the water bill was not being paid. Again, that's not a matter that the city needs to be involved in. That's between the owner and the tenant. And what happens is when the water gets turned off, then it invokes our policy that Mr. Hawkins just spoke to. And, you know, the city has to follow its own policies. And, you know, if you do it for one, you got to do it for everybody if you make an exception.
And this would be, the exception that the city attorney is speaking on would be, I guess, a rezone. Go back to zoning it for mobile homes. I think that's what they would be doing.
So their options are they can petition to rezone, so that would go through the planning commission. Planning commission would make their recommendation, then it would come here for a public hearing, and the city commission, just like any rezoning, would make the final decision. or they can relocate the mobile home to an area that allows for mobile homes. Would be the two options, and that was notified to the tenant and to the property owner.
And
If I may, Mr. City Manager, Director Hawkins, when there's going to be a change, like for instance, you made mention in your preface or your introductory thought, you said that the past commission, were you referring to this commission
No, sir.
or the planning and zoning?
It would have been it would have been both. So the planning commission, this was carried to the planning commission. Planning commission made the recommendation, then it came to the city commission, but this was back in 2008. So I don't think any of y'all were on then. So
No. That would have been the beginning of, yeah. It sounds like it was the beginning or the end of a term. Sounds like
Right.
either Fluke or Billups.
Mayor,
And Commissioner Gogan.
thank you. More recently, back at our last commission meeting on May the 6th, this commission, along with the city manager, discussed about the possibility of deciding to vote on a resolution for the owner of the property to sign an affidavit swearing to the water and electricity is up to code. Then they would get a licensed contractor to sign another affidavit attesting that the owner has met the requirements to turn back on the water and or electricity, so that the responsibility falls back on the property owner. Is that not still up for a vote in this meeting?
so when I brought that to the commission, that's the vacancy, getting rid of the vacancy inspection. This will not apply because of the zoning situation. And I was gonna bring that back after the budget passed to the commission. I wanted that to kind of give them time to really understand what would happen once we got rid of the vacancy inspection, because it will cause some more heartaches to our citizens. They're not aware right now by us being involved right now. But I guess general population is general concession is we need to probably go a different way. In this situation, I know some special circumstances may be involved with this particular person. But like I say, it was 2 years, so a long time went by that there was no communication, and I don't know the whole ins and out outside of what happened. So I think the best thing to do, the really only option is to bring it back before the board, the zoning board, and bring them that way. I mean, that's the best option I would think right now. But as Mr. Hawkins mentioned, if we go back on this zoning, then we've denied others who have tried to put mobile homes in certain locations within the city.
Any further questions or back? If not, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next we're moving to a Splash 2023 kind of update. And what I want to do here, so right now in the books, we've collected about $850,000. I want to make sure that I clarify with the commission what we were actually trying to do, because in a couple of months, once the budget is passed, so around July time frame, I will be coming back trying to enact a strategy. By that time, we'll be collected a few more dollars, and we'll probably be over the million and some change mark. So just to go back again, so as far as that shortfall, as far as the streets and dirt roads, we don't have a shortfall. What we end up having is we have the ability to save some money. Some things came under budget as far as the paving the roads, and right now we're looking to go ahead. We bypassed Scrivens because of the amount that it cost it. Now we do have that funding to go ahead and do Scrivens, and I think the next road might have been, doesn't come off right now, but I think the next road, I'm not sure. We probably could do 3 more roads now, because I think we're gonna save about $2 million. So right now I have Charlie going over that. We'll have to either do a contract modification with the current team doing this, or bid it out again as far as that. But that's a win-win, because initially we thought that amount of money, that 5.2 million at the time, will only cover those amount of streets we had. So it was like now we be able to do those additional streets. And with the dirt roads, we won't have a small amount we got to cover. So we did have money in that account still, and we should be able to pay for that as well. So this kind of changes my overall strategy approach moving forward for the rest of the year. When I said we would have that probably like 2.4 million by January. So what I would like to do, and the commission to consider, and we'll go into this in detail once we sit down after we pass the budget. But get those vehicles for community investment, get the vacuum truck for public works, go ahead and collect the money for the parks, the $300,000 for the parks. Go ahead and start the planning phases for the remainder of the dirt roads. So right now, on books, and we're still trying to move some things around, we probably have about 17 what we would say are dirt roads. Now some of these roads have milling on them, but the plan is to go ahead and pull that milling up and then go ahead and store that milling and then go ahead and finish off the rest of those dirt roads. With that criteria being, you don't have another paved road in front of your house. It's not a driveway. It's multiple homes, churches, stuff like that on their property. And it's not one house. It's, a long driveway. So on that list is about 24 roads. So I think it's about 7 roads that fit the criteria. They would not probably deem getting paid, but what I would do, and I would take the milling, because it looks like the milling, if you just put it down, it probably lasts only about 2 years. And now that I have a better understanding and the team is better trained, we would this milling we're gonna pull back up. We would probably put it back down on those situations where it's one person, and then every year we come regrade it. That's the thing we have to start doing. Is kind of manage it better. That way it lasts much longer. But the great thing would be we would get the rest of the dirt roads done. My plan would be, of course, the winter months. We come up on the winter months now, so it's probably a bad idea to start doing that. But we'll go ahead and bid it out, and that way everything's kind of bid out. And maybe March, April next year, they can start on those roads. So that will kind of push the plan up for 2026 because we will meet all those requirements that we talked about before, completing the remainder of the paved roads, resurfacing, completing the rest of the dirt roads, and then getting some vehicles for community improvement, public works, and then the park funding. With the park funding, that would amount to about $60,000 for each commissioner, and then that would give us time to go ahead and start researching how they want to apply that monies to their individual parks, and then probably same time, probably March when the weather gets better next year, we could start applying that money to those parks. Probably could be it sooner if it's something that's not weather dependent. I know some of you want to put in dog trails and dog parks, stuff like that nature. That might be easy to put in even during the winter months. But you'll have that money available, I'm hoping to have beginning of January. So that's kind of the change. And like I said, we'll go definitely into detail on this after the budget is passed. But I did want the commission to just get an update because we did have some savings, a lot of savings more than we anticipated. So we can get a few more things done. In regards to Scrivens, I am going to contact the railroad department. We've got to figure out that right away down that Spider intersection down there. There are some questions about how far the right way goes. So I'm trying to figure that out right now. I know that's a big area too. And hopefully, as we're paving Scrivens coming down in front of Dairy Queen and all that, maybe the railroad could pick up that other area because it is confusion right now of how far back the right of way is going, who actually owns it. So we're talking about between GDOT, the railroad department, and us from Plant that way, our actual street, and then the railroad department. So once we figure it out, we'll go ahead and get Scrivens done, and then I think that'll be a good plus to citizens. That intersection is probably the second most complained about intersection in the city. So if we can go ahead and knock that out too over the next 2 or 3 months, that's going to be a win for the city. So I just wanted to update the commissions on what I think is a good story right now for us. And I pause there if we have any questions on that.
I do have a couple of questions. One question came about the number of roads. How many dirt roads are we discussing? I heard 11, I heard 17, and I heard 24.
So right now, Mr. Mayor, and I'll pull it up. So on the dirt roads we're working right now, Georgia Street, Morehouse Boulevard Street, Browns, Allen, East Hamilton, Greenwood, and there's 2 more on here. they made the cut. But those were the ones we originally put on there a while back. I think it was like 7 of those. What I'm talking about now, so the number is fluctuating. We're still trying to get the right inputs. So overall dirt roads, we're probably talking around about 28, like a dirt road and somebody's house is there. But in some situations, that might be just a driveway because they might have a paved road in front of their yards, but they want to use a dirt road because they have their garage back there. So in them cases, we're not gonna probably pave that road because you have a paved road in the front, if that makes sense, and you're using the back road as a driveway. So I'm going back now and trying to make sure that's right. So when I say 17, that's a rough estimate of the dirt roads that we have that have multiple homes, churches, or businesses on them, and those are the ones we're looking to go ahead and get done sometime early next year.
Okay, so I clearly understand now, but at first it was sounding like it was growing as we talked.
Oh.
The other place was the removal and then the replacement, taking out milling and then putting it back.
So
there's cost accumulated with those things?
No, Public Works can take the milling up, and then we'll recrush it, regrind it. We can do it on our own. I just, in these cases, those other roads that might remain, where it might be a driveway, or it might be just that one house down the 400-yard long driveway, we don't want to leave them out there. So in them cases, we will do the milling. But like I said, we look back at the milling, and when properly maintained, it can last a long time. So properly maintained meaning we need to get out there and kind of regrade it every year. You know, crush it up and put it down again. And I think that's feasible if you're only talking about maybe 4 or 5 streets at that point in time. It's kind of hard right now because we do have a lot of streets. Well, we did have a lot of streets with milling on them, and we wasn't following up with that. Now that we recognize and we have the tools and the abilities and the training, I think by doing that, it's going to save us money. And then those citizens, you know, not a perfect situation, but until we can get some more money, and again, we're talking about driveways and back roads versus paving front roads that, you know, with multiple homes on them. So, but it's a cost saving there because one point being we won't have to buy any more milling. Once we pour the milling up all these other 17 streets, not 17, but these other streets, we're gonna have a lot of milling that we can kind of maintain.
So those were my questions. That was it.
Okay, Mr. Mayor. And again, Mr. Mayor, it's anything the commission has to vote on right now. I just wanted to be aware that once we kind of pass the budget, we have more details. I will come back to the commission with a more solid plan. Like I said, estimated right now, we're talking about 2.4 million once everything's collected in January. It's just certain things I want to go ahead and start on the planning and prep phase because it takes about, you know, 3 to 4 months to bid out the streets and all that stuff. So we go ahead and do it later this year. Then when the weather gets better, we can jump right in and get all that stuff done. All right, Mr. Mayor, next it was a,
Just for a moment, Commissioner Bennett has a question.
okay.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Manager, so you said we're gonna pull the milling up, and I guess the people that supposedly have driveways, but it's not actually a road, and maybe I could say like Carter Lane, are we gonna pull the milling up from another street and actually put the milling down on Carter Lane? Because some people say it's a driveway. Some people say that's supposed to be a street, so I really don't know. Is that what you're saying?
I'll come back to you.
okay.
We'll get what I would like to do. Like in some cases, if it's just one house there, and they have a paved road, because some people they have a paved road in front of their house.
Okay.
So in that case, it is a driveway, and they might have a street tag on it, but that's a driveway, because they can come around the backside on the paved road. But the goal is not to just throw that off. The goal would be to, pave all dirt roads with multiple homes, churches, businesses on there. We have quite a few of those. Who's in that 17? Get that done. Some of those right now have milling down because we put milling on them. We pull all that milling up, yes, and then we pave all that.
But see, Carter Lane it's by the park, and it literally doesn't have.
It's a dirt road right now.
It's a dirt road,
Yeah.
and once they drive
Okay.
on that little stretch, it's a hole that sits in
Okay.
the middle of it. Supposed to be a street, but then some people say it's not.
Okay.
They
Well-
said it's they drive, it's they part of their yard, and I don't understand.
We'll verify that. I don't want
Okay.
to. We'll verify that, and if it's a street, there's a street. We'll take care of it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. I just like I said, right now we got some cost savings, so we got some flexibility, and I think regardless of the outcome, we will have enough money because the dirt roads don't cost as much to build out compared to putting up all utilities in a currently paved road. So with some good engineering, they should be able to go in there and figure it out. I think we got it's a road District 3, kind of the same situation. It's milling and dirt, and so fully understand all that. So we like I said, we're trying to get a proper inventory.
Yes, sir.
I think we'll be in a good space. The roads I'm talking about, like, there's only a few of them where it's like just it just ain't feasible because it's a long driveway.
Yes, sir.
But even then, like I said, this is not going to the overall financial strategy. The goal would be if we operate this way with the mix of passing the splosh and the T-splosh when it's up, and then the TIA. My goal right now, and I really feel like we can achieve this goal. It's probably going to be 200 streets over the next 10 years, and I feel good about that because each time we progress over these bad streets, the worst streets, the money will go farther because the streets are not so bad. So we sat down with the engineer team today, and that's a goal we have right now. Like I said, if the splosh keeps coming in, and the T-splosh in certain situations, and then the TIA, when that comes back around, we can make a lot of leeway on these streets. Now, I'm saying 210 years. The other streets that are pretty well right now, like the new public works director, he's doing a great job trying to find other ways to maintain those streets right now. As we know, asphalt and concrete lasts a certain amount of time, so we got a better hold on how old streets are at this time. So we're looking at some spraying and a few other things we can do to make those streets at the end of it, our best streets right now, last a little bit longer. We replace our worst streets moving forward. So that's kind of leading to the financial strategy that I want to mention. Like I say, we have some savings this year as far as the budget, which we'll talk about tomorrow. But if the commission, and the mayor, you say this often, the commission sometimes changes. If the commission can stay on priority, can stay on target, they can get a lot done. The problem in the past, we just simply stop sometimes because arguing about who road it is, and then for 10 years we didn't do a road, previously we didn't do anything. So I just think hopefully that whoever comes in, commission, I'm talking about down the road, 4, 5, 10 years from now, they stay on target, stay on mission, and then it'll be a good day in Waycross. And 10 years is not a long time when you talk about time. And while all that's going on, all our big highways begin to be done too, so it's gonna be exciting. So that's kind of the update. The last update will be, you got a copy of the parks listed in front of you, the dates and the timeline for the parks. That is I'm gonna say that's a conservative estimate. Right now they're looking at maybe July, between July 17th and July 30th, I think, for the parks to be done. And it's like a time, you gotta put it all side by side to see the timeline. And I know I didn't want to post it online right now because it's very, very small. We'll make a new chart for our citizens to kind of look at. But right now, estimated time is gonna be around July 17th to July 21st. So we did phase some things. So of course, as the commission had asked to, we put the splash pads up front. So they poured concrete for the splash pads last week, for the 2 splash pads and the bathroom. So that's and the pipes are being run as well. So those things, they should get use this summer. So because it stays hot around about September, October. So that's a good thing. So just want to let everybody know that I'll make a more, I guess, understandable version of that timeline. But I know some of the commissioners asked of a timeline on the parks. Right now, like I said, we're looking at July of everything being completed in those parks. And I'll pause there for any questions on that, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner, do you have any questions of the city manager? Commissioner
Excuse me, Robert. This is not about the parks, but could we just go back to about the roads, if you don't mind?
That's right.
And so I hate to keep going back to this, but is there any way that we could talk about, like District 1? I wouldn't say that we have the perfect roads, but some of our roads are getting torn up by the maintenance, And so what I'm saying is, like the potholes, you know, is it, you know, when we online to get some of those fixed, I mean,
So I spoke to, we had some questions about, initially, I think everybody thought it was the fiber going into the ground, and had a lot of extra holes in the ground with the fiber being installed. And then of course we have our sinkholes, water leaks, and then we have our potholes. So I did speak to Infomark last week. We all sat down and with Public Works Director, and we're gonna change some things up. In the past, because the sinkholes and leaks have been so substantial, you know, and those gonna be the priority because they can cause the most damage if left unattended. That Public Works has, you know, kind of moved toward helping them out more than what it's supposed to do. So I made a decision to just stop that relationship right now, and they're gonna focus on the potholes and all those things. The ESG manager was here. We're gonna do a drive-through next week to look at all those cuts and fills. Like we discussed in the meeting, there's some things that could be done better with the cuts and fills. So we're gonna look at that as well. And that goes back to the manpower. As he mentioned, they've been short some people, and you kind of heard why. It is hard to hire somebody right now because they're gonna come in and they're gonna get a higher salary because the market deems it versus somebody who's been here for 20 years. So. And it's causing some bad morale. So short answer, we're working on it. I would just tell everybody this, and I'm not trying to push back anything like that. But speed is the biggest problem when it comes to potholes. Potholes, the railroad tracks, all these things. You're gonna go hit these areas going anything over 25 miles per hour. You're gonna, you know, I'm not making any excuses, but I am saying everybody needs to slow down. You know. And that should be just not slow down to avoid potholes, but just safety. So, but we talk about the speeding around here all the time.
yes, sir.
But we will address it. Like I said, I did identify all of the fiber optics holes, and we monitor them as well right now. So we go with them every day as they on their schedule to when they fill their holes or complete their projects. And then I'm separating our water leaks, water and sewer, from pots and holes and those things who a lot of times get pulled together because those situations are similar. They're going to stay separate. And then we're going to have to go from there.
Yes, sir. And if you, excuse me, these are the questions that I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this might not be dealing with completely the road, but can you address the street lights? As some of these street lights
Yeah,
is
so-
out.
So we turn in, when street lights get turned in, it's a work order, and Georgia Power maintains all our streets. When you look at the budget, you're going to see that prices went up significantly. So every time we ask them to add a street, no, that's a cost. They have a system of how they put street lights up, and if they got a street light for a certain distance, and then they don't meet the requirement, they've been helping us out by putting street lights in. I'm gonna talk about doing the budget process. We've got to be careful with everybody wanting a street light right in front of their house because we are going down that road. So, I understand citizens, concerns about that, but at the same time, they don't want to pay extra for anything, So that is an extra cost. And that's got to be understood if we have to push back on certain cases. That's all you, Commissioner.
I'm talking about also, sir, the ones that we already have in place.
Yeah,
just
it-
blanking of-
Yeah, it takes around about 45 days for them to put a light back in place. So,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner, did you have a
I'm done, thank you.
Commissioner District 3, any questions? And District 5?
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you all for responding.
Okay. And this time, Mr. Mayor, we will move into the rest of the agenda. We have no privilege license renewals at this time. We have no privilege licenses. We have no proposed ordinances or we have resolutions, once we go back. And I will say before I turn it over to the city attorney for his remarks and his report, I want to go ahead and highlight, in case I forget tomorrow, the city clerk's office. The city clerk's office, because they have really enhanced our revenue here, just getting us back on track to what it would be. We did lower the overall budget this year, but we did increase revenue, which is a great thing because we can pass those cost savings on to our residents and our citizens, which is that's the reason why we do the budget. So I want to highlight that with that department and also the finance department. So I see some of the commissioners looking at the finance book for them. We tried to do some things differently this year. We want to really tell the story and line things up for how the decisions are made. It's a portion in there where you see what the budget is. It goes into detail right from the GMA website on how budget, what it is, the dates, how it works, the accounts, everything. So I think this year our citizens can have a better understanding of what a budget is, the timelines, and then because we tell our story, they can see how we got to what we got. Each director has a page and it kind of highlights everything they've done. So I'll discuss that tomorrow. But I just want to highlight the city clerk's team and the finance department, all of the young ladies that work back there. They've done a great job with this and also just making things better as far as modernizing our systems. And I'll pause there, Mr. Mayor.
Did you have a presentation tonight from any of our?
I will, for my report, I'm gonna let the city attorney go first, and then we'll go to that report.
Okay, very good. Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, we just have one resolution, and that is the proposed ESG contract amendment. And so we'll have that resolution ready for tomorrow.
Do we need consent for that resolution?
Yes.
Okay. And if you would brief us on, just one more time, I know that each one will have an opportunity to ask questions of the use of the resolution for tomorrow.
The proposal that was presented tonight by ESG for the increase regarding wage increases, lab supplies, chemicals, inflation, sludge. If the commission is inclined to approve the request by ESG for the contract amendment, we would have it ready. But it's up to the commission to decide whether you want that or not.
Okay. And this is just for the resolution for our agenda for tomorrow, and I'll just ask for each commissioner to give your consent. District 1.
Yes, sir.
District 2.
Yes, sir.
District 3.
I need a point of clarification regarding resolution, not this resolution.
So for this resolution, I
But
just want
yes,
to find
but
out.
I would still like a point
Okay,
of
I'll come back
clarification
to
on
that.
that. Yes,
And
thank you.
District 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, you have consent.
Okay, I made a request, as we had discussion tonight about an honors policy resolution. I submitted the information well in advance for research to be conducted so that a resolution can be drawn up. Also, the question was asked tonight, did any commissioner have any input? And there wasn't any other than what I suggested. So will we not draw up a resolution to vote on that?
So I've asked for feedback. I was going to bring it back to the commission and give commission time to provide any feedback they want to. I mean, I thought it was the understanding.
You did. You opened the floor for a conversation regarding the honors policy, and Commissioners Roberts made a comment, and his comment was, will this be retroactive?
Yes.
And will it have inclusivity of persons who have been on and have either termed out? And how would this resolution work? Would this resolution be something just for the time that we're here? Because there's a great possibility that there's going to be a change in just a few months. So how long lasting will this be, and how forthright will it be? That was my question. And so those are my questions that probably need to be answered before we move forward with making a resolution. Because you're going to need 3 people to vote on it to say yay. Otherwise, it will fail. Thank
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, Mr. Mayor, we move to my report. I'm going to defer my report tonight, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to defer to Susan. I'm going to say a few things before she comes up. So we did, we had some inquiries about what we deem citizens in need and how do we help these citizens. And this goes back to the Facebook post sometimes. And then, as you know, Mr. Mayor, you chair meetings with these groups for our citizens in needs, and I don't want to get into who does what or who doesn't do anything because that's not really important. I think what we have done through Discovery Learning is, I will say this, most of our citizens in need know what's available to them. We know every homeless person by name here, City Hall. We speak to them quite often. A lot of those we do a significant amount, but we don't carry the heavy load like other organizations do. And I think, and Susan's going to explain it better. I think what we need to, what everybody who might be watching right now, we need volunteers. We have about 10 organizations that, from our bed, couch surfing children that we call it, to our homeless, to our battered, to our mentally and physically disabled. That's a big population. Like I say, we have organizations, but they only have a few people deep doing this. So I will say, Mr. Mayor, those individuals who question what's going on, Susan's going to give you the full opportunity tonight to step up and kind of volunteer in those ways. Because again, if you want to make things better, then be part of the solution. It's very distasteful to go around and take pictures of the homeless and then you don't do anything for them that day. So that's why I decided, to contact Susan so she could really make everybody understand what is being done, what has been done was for a long time now. In some situations, it's going to be difficult because it's a big problem. And but the battles that we can win, I think her organization, Where Children Initiative and other organizations are doing a great job, and we don't highlight them enough, which we need to start doing. But I'm gonna pause there and her the mic, and I'm gonna put some slides up. She's gonna go through some of these other organizations because they couldn't be here tonight. And then, Mr. Mayor, I think, and it's discussion to her and Mrs. I guess she walked out. The meeting you had with the young lady last week about doing a barbecue of some sort to kind of bring these under one umbrella again, like we've done before. We can start doing that again. We'll try to do that as soon as possible, with whichever functioning part that we have, and then hopefully the word will get around a little bit better. But I think right now, the best thing we can do is pass it over to Susan. Let her kind of talk about everything from her perspective.
Thank you for having me today. Officially, I am Susan Haddock. I am the director of the Ware Children's Initiative. We are the Family Connections Collaborative for Ware County. With that, we get together with all the other organizations, faith communities, anybody who is working to make our community better and to serve the people in our community. We have a monthly meeting that is open to the public. We welcome anybody coming in because it's an amazing way to connect. It's not my meeting, it's everyone's meeting. What the cool thing is in these meetings is that you'll have somebody come in and say, we've just instituted this program here at our organization, and with that, this is the information we're providing. And you'll have somebody across the room who says, our clients need that, can we get together afterwards? And then they do. And so we don't have all of our organizations in town working in a silo. Everybody is working together to see how we can turn around and be able to serve better and make sure there are not gaps. OATH is Okefenokee Alliance for the Homeless, and they serve our precariously housed and those in who are homeless right now. They go in and serve them. They have all sorts of resources available beyond meals, which are provided daily. They also help people get the documentation they need. If you've lost your license, if you don't have a birth certificate, if you need to go in and get Social Security funds, or if you're a veteran and you need help with the VA, all of those are things that they can go in and actually help and provide and give assistance, because a lot of times if I walked in there and needed to know how to get some type of documentation, I may not know how to do it. And they are actually able to help and walk through the process, and along with that have funds to be able to help. They also help with like laundry services, things like that, to meet immediate needs, but also to provide long-term guided care so that people can receive the services they need and be able to move forward in whatever way they want to move forward. Talking about that collaboration, that combination, there are other organizations that come into OATH throughout the week and have meetings there. There are recovery meetings, so there's recovery meetings in there. Unison has people coming in to be able to provide mental health benefits. All these other people are coming in to serve our citizens in the place that they need, so that we're not having to send people out, go here, go here, go here. Everybody gets to come in and be able to serve together. Unison is our next. It's behavioral health. If you were at our meeting last Thursday, we got to hear them speak on Mental Health Month, give us a rundown of some of their clients, and see some success stories that they're working with. Unison comes in and provides help as far as recovery. They're at Oath, but they're also in our schools. They're partnering with other organizations. They have an open house coming up at the end of the month next week, so that you can actually go in and see what services. So if you're not sure what Unison does, or if you've heard about them and you're not sure the whole scope of their services, you can actually go in and be able to see what they have going on. Satilla Advocacy Services works with sexual assault survivors. They go in and do that immediate crisis care, but they also are there long term. When you're looking at somebody who has been through that kind of trauma, they're providing counseling services. They're providing other resources. They're also providing a huge amount of education to our students. They are in the schools constantly, being able to make sure that our children aren't sex trafficked, to make sure they know about internet safety, to know what they need to do when there's a crisis, and they need who to reach out to and how to reach out. Action Pact is a wonderful umbrella organization that you're looking at. Head Start is located there. You also have plans if you during the summer when cooling bills get very high, they have some options to be able to help citizens. Our CASA is there, and this court-appointed special advocates to be able to help children in foster care have an adult to help them navigate and support. So there are huge amounts of things that are happening there at Action Pact, and they get to partner again with so many of our different organizations. One of the things that they do, there's actually a peer support person there with Head Start. It is somebody who had a child in Head Start, went through the Head Start program, has gone in, gotten additional layers of education, and she now comes back and serves. So families who are looking for resources, they are looking for help, want to know how to navigate that. She's done the work, she has that lived experience, and she helps walk them through. They have parent support groups, and they have support groups specifically for dads to be able to help dads not only get that community support that they need, but to be able to connect with other dads who have kids the same age, which we all know when you're going through the middle of it, it's nice to have somebody walk with you. Magnolia House works with intimate partner violence. They serve there as a shelter to be able to serve anyone who has gone through that, families, women and children's shelter. They also do lots of education for our kids in our community, and to be able, there's ongoing support there. So not only are they helping someone who has gone through the immediate shelter, but then they get to go from there and they help them find homes, they help them find employment, they get them to a stable point, and then have support groups for people so that it's not a, hey, you've reached this point, you're out living on your own. You still have people to be able to come back to for that support with the people not only there at Magnolia House, but people who have been through similar situations as you. They provide services to the kids who are there at the shelter, education, activities, being able to get out and to have community support too. Call to Care works with children in foster care in any method of it. So if you have a family that DFACS is working with for family preservation, this may be a family who is at risk of having the children put into foster care, but they're really trying to help that family overcome the obstacles that they have, because we know that it's traumatic anytime a child leaves that home to go into foster care. And so they work in those situations to be able to help families to have that security. They also work with children in foster care. They provide support for foster parents. When you're looking at foster care and foster parents, most foster parents leave within the first year of providing care because they don't get support. They feel like they don't have support within their community, within their family, within their church. And so with that, to be able to have these opportunities that Call to Care steps in and provides that support, it makes a huge difference. So that people foster longer. Those kids have stability when you have somebody in there, when they're not looking at having to find a new foster home within that year. And that's me, the Where Children's Initiative. Again, we have that partnership meeting, we want everybody sitting at the table together. We want everybody to be able to learn about what's happening. Like I said, to be able, like I said last week, to be able to bring Unison in, hear what's going on. What trends are they seeing? Because that's important, because if they're seeing trends with their clients, then all of our clients, everybody else we're working with, it's most likely that that's going to happen within our groups too. And so to know that ahead of time, for us to all be able to go in and tackle it together, means that we serve our citizens better, provide better care, make sure there are not gaps in services. One of the things that we were able to do, Sweetwater Baptist Church. So Patrick Hicks Men's Center, this is an overnight facility that provides, I think it's 6 beds for men here in the area. Doesn't fall exactly under homeless shelter, but to be able to provide services and its ongoing services again. It's not just a place to stay, it's what services do you need, what help do you need, how do we turn around and get you back on your feet, learning life skills, that kind of thing. DC Downtown is a food ministry based here in Waycross. They have 2 nights a week that they serve, and families are able to come in, and people of all ages are able to come in to provide food so that it meets those critical needs. We've seen prices on food going up. We know it's a struggle for a lot of people, a lot of families. Especially you're looking going into the summer where a lot of our kids have eaten up meals at school. That kind of thing increases a grocery bill, and so families are able to go in and to get food from DC Downtown. South Georgia Regional Commission is able to, one, it provides transportation. That is a huge thing in our area. We know that we do not have a lot of public transportation, but you can go in and you can actually request rides from them. It's $6 round trip if it's within 10 miles. If you are a senior citizen or have a disability, it's down to, I think, 4 or 5. So it's ways to be able to get to appointments. It's ways to get to, we just saw the DC Downtown Food Bank. If you don't have transportation, you don't have the ability to get out and go, you can request a ride to be able to get to them. It's not just for Ware County either. There's a large 18-county area, and so you don't have to, if there's not a specialist here that you need in Waycross, you can turn around and you can get a ride to other counties that provide the doctors or the care that you need. One of the things that came out of the community meetings held here in this room, so community and faith-based, was that people needed resources but did not necessarily know how to get them, especially if it was a situation of, I need a resource right now. And we know that when we need a resource right now, then our brain isn't working in the way that we want it to. That little bit of fear, that anxiousness, really impacts our ability to be able to think and search. So with that, Mr. Simmons and I worked on an urgent requests list. So if you do not need 911, you don't need the police to show up, you don't need an ambulance, but you need care in some way, that's what this list is. With that, it may show that, like I said, the homeless and the precariously housed, you can go on here and we've got hours and you've got a number to be able to call. We've got food banks and food pantries in the area. The other thing that we have is that Children's Initiative and Family Connection maintains a resource list of any resources in the community, and it's anything that somebody wants put on there. So you can go in and you can scan the code at the bottom, and with that it brings you to a searchable resource list online. With that, we always welcome anybody to send us, say, hey, this resource is available, give us hours and phone numbers, addresses, that kind of thing, so that it's available for anybody looking it up. The other thing with this, I've got my cards. I'm going to set my cards out there on the table by the agenda. My email address is on here, so you could email me if you have a resource that's not listed on our list. Or if you want an actual official copy of this, we make it an 11 by 17. With that, you get to put it on the door in your office. You get to put it in your church office. You get to anywhere that you get those calls saying, hey, somebody needs help. How do we help them? Then you've got the immediate resources right here in the list. And that's what we wanted. We wanted, because we all want to help in so many different ways, but we always don't know how to help. And so with that, you can access this list to be able to refer people very quickly to organizations that can assist them. And at the same time, like I said, additional resources in our community that are available all the time. So I appreciate the opportunity to share. We have so many people doing so much. And like I said, we just love the opportunity for anybody else to join in with us, to turn around and to come to one of our meetings so that you can meet everybody and see what everybody's doing.
It's not you.
Okay, thank you.
But don't leave yet, Sue. Don't leave
Okay,
yet.
okay, sorry.
Could you touch on so the summer with the kids getting out of school and the service at the library, and just that meal plan for the summer? How many kids won't eat unless they get food from the library and other sources?
The library, so the library only started doing lunch services about 2 years ago. So the school system provides lunches through a federal grant, and they've got it set up this year and last year where you actually receive a box at 7 breakfasts and 7 lunches. There's sites throughout the city. Some of them are in housing complexes. Some of them are in parks. You can come and volunteer with me anytime. I'll be at E.E. Moore Park all summer long. With that food is provided. It gives an opportunity for people to for our kids to have those breakfasts and lunches. But like I said, that no one was doing anything in the area that the library was in. We had a lot of kids in that area that were not covered. And with that, 2 years ago, they realized that, and they said, here, let us please do this. And so the librarians actually take the time to set all that up to serve those families so that they have those meals. But with the renovations at the library this year, that's a major source. They're serving over 100 kids each year. So that's 100 kids in that area to be able to, that won't have a place to walk up. I know the school is working on trying to find some alternatives, but it's still a hard area because you're looking at with the highway right there. One of the things that we see over and over again is that kids can't travel to get there. There's a limited amount that they can turn around and be able to walk there to get food. So we always want to make sure there's as many opportunities as possible, as close as possible, because if you have families who are working, parents who are working, then oftentimes those kids are home during the day alone, which is fine. They're old enough to be there, but they can't go heading out in the neighborhood to be able to get food. So having those food options as close as possible mean that more kids get to eat this summer.
Thank you so very much for that.
Like I said, I will always take volunteers. I'm out there every Tuesday at lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And Mr. Mayor, this time that completes the agenda items and special topic items. And I don't think we have a executive session scheduled for tonight.
Very
so I'll
good.
turn it back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes.
I just want to be clear. So tomorrow we'll have the ESG resolution regarding the contract amendment. And as far as the honors policy is concerned, that's something we're going to work on and bring back to a future work session in light of the comments that were made tonight.
Right. I'm thinking that unless I can poll the commission to find out what their feel is, because right now it sounds like we're in question mode.
Right.
We had a general statement made. That statement was that we need to have something in place, but then afterwards it was what we didn't do, but I didn't hear any specifics as of what we will be doing. And I also heard that there was a statement made that there is a template that we can make reference to that we have not seen. And I think that the commission probably would like to see that template and or have had it in our workbook so that we could have seen and made a decision there. Because everything else has been here in our faces, with the exception of a few other things that came to us and they were presented to us in paper form tonight. They were on the dais, so we were able to kind of look through it. But I understand the commissioner has some more information she wants to share with us, and I think it may be wiser for us to see that information before we make a decision. But I can still poll the commission to find out what they want to do.
Well, I mean, it's my recommendation that we take our time and do it right, because I between now and tomorrow night, I don't think I'd have enough time to get it done anyhow.
Yes, sir.
We need to have all of the information that should be included in such a policy so that we can look at it again and make sure that we are doing what we want to do.
Yes, sir. And my only concern is most times when we have things like this, we've had this since Thursday.
Right.
And we had opportunity to have read through it and ask questions and even poll and or email either you or the city manager regarding any questions we may have had. And of course, there were questions that were given to us as a body, and we were able to look through and make reference to. But just for our own personal sake and for clarity's sake, when it comes down to making a vote on a thing, I know how difficult sometimes it can be to make a decision on something, just as, and I'll use as a reference, the city manager bringing to our attention that there may come a time he's going to ask for a higher ceiling regarding his ability for procurement to get something before, the next meeting without having to poll all of us again. So those are the kinds of conversations I think we would have. And I know he may mention that a couple of plaques were made and everybody was treated pretty much fairly, but when the statement was made, it was almost as if we did different things for different people. I do understand. I made reference to the city auditorium and made reference to Mr. Etheridge and several other things. But my only conversation here is, I do know that we as a body need to know specifics. I understand when we get ready to do something of that sort, it's going to be required later on, because later we're going to do something. I mean, even down to the flag at half-mast, that's a conversation that can only be, I think the governor makes that decision most of the time. We don't make that decision. And even when people come and change the flag, when it's full, when it's told to be full, we can be sanctioned for not following and being compliant. So our goal is to do things correctly. On the other end of that, I know that could be a problem for some people who believe that we don't know what we're doing from jump, when in reality we're following directives from other places that tell us when we can and cannot. We are a local government with a municipality. So the county and the state usually tell us pretty much where we're supposed to be going at some point. Yeah. But that's just me sharing my thoughts. But I guess we can do last call. Okay. District 1.
Excuse me. Thank everybody for coming out tonight. I hope everybody have a good night. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you,
Thank
Commissioner.
you, sir.
Thank you. District 2.
And thank you, Mayor. I just want to make everybody aware of June 14th at 12 p.m. We will have our Juneteenth parade, and it starts at 12 o'clock on June 14th. On June 19th at Bailey Street, Park, from 12 to 6 will be the celebration, so everybody could come out, and there's games, music, food, everything is free. So please come out on June 19th from 12 p to 6 p. And school is about to close for our children, so let's keep that in mind. And let's think safety, because they're going to be everywhere. So hopefully we can find something for them to do. I think the pool will be open.
We're hoping so.
Yes, sir. So, and teachers, I want to thank you all for a wonderful job that you have done with the students and the principals as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And District 3.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate everyone for coming out tonight, and also for those of you who've decided to stick around with us for about an hour and a half. Also, I'd like to thank the young lady, I can't recall your name, for providing so many resourceful information and assistance to our citizens here in the community. I'm quite familiar with all of those organizations. I have partnerships with them, so I'm a testament to how the services that each of those organizations do provide can assist any and everyone in the community if they so desire. Also, I would just like to add that, for us as a city, I've sat here for almost 4 years, and I've seen so much take place in the time that I've been here. But one of the many things that I've always said from the beginning that I would like to see us do more, I'm not saying that we're not doing it, but I think we can do a better job of that, is being more proactive as opposed to reactive to situations, and also getting the facts as opposed to operating off of feelings and emotions. Thank you, Mayor. Back to you.
Thank you. And District 5.
Raymond, thanks, sir.
Thank you, everyone, for being present tonight. I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
It is a motion and a second. Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor, aye?